The sci-fi action thriller 65 came out recently, and your boy, Jason, just happened to be in the neighborhood, and I decided to go see this little film. I was mostly intrigued by the concept of this movie. Spaceman from the future lands in a Cretaceous period Earth and has to find his way back to the present. It's a curious tale that has always piqued my interest. One of the very first games I ever played on the family Xbox was a little known gem called Jurassic the Hunted. And the premise is exactly that of what I just described. Fighting off waves of hostile dinosaurs, just like this movie. But also not like this movie. '65 is a very cliche film about a pilot carrying cryogenic passengers somewhere. I forgot the number of passengers he was carrying.
Transporting 35 passengers.
But the ship he's flying hits an asteroid and ends up having to make a crash landing. He soon finds that he has crash landed on some planet that he can't identify. So I guess Adam Driver is not from the future, but from a different planet entirely that speaks English, and is also far advanced from humans that they have the ability to fly through the galaxy. They never touch on this or even begin to explain what makes Adam Driver's race, or whatever he is, to Earth's human race. So I was a bit confused when I found out he wasn't actually human, and it threw me off so much that it kind of took me out of the movie trying to piece together what the hell he actually was. Anyway, on the way down, the ship splits in two, and all the passengers except for one perish in the crash. The one that didn't die is a little girl, so he takes her to safety and harbors her until she wakes up. She wakes up and does one of those "you're awake but you close your eyes quickly to make it still seem like you're asleep" trick on Mr. Driver. She follows him while he's out looking as to where the other end of the ship went that holds the escape pod. He soon finds where it is, and it's on a mountaintop. He also finds out that the little girl has been following him, and he has to chase her, which leads to this ridiculous and cliche chase scene where they both end up falling. Very cartoonish, honestly. And so he does catch her. Then something in the distance can be heard walking toward them, and they both freeze. Then Adam Driver grabs the little girl, and the screen cuts to black, and they are back on the ship. It felt like they were going to reveal something, some sort of dinosaur, and they just didn't. I think it would have been better to have them reveal whatever it was that they were teasing right then and there, because then it would have shown us that they were in real danger. But the cut to black transition really kind of ruins that potential. Adam Driver tells the little girl his name, and she tells him hers, which is Koa. He also tells Koa that they need to get to the top of the mountain to reach the escape pod to go home. She mistakes the word home for family, but unsurprisingly enough, her parents were two of the many that died in the crash, but for her sake, that's what she believes. So, Mr. Driver and Koa set out to reach the escape pod before the impending asteroid that killed off the dinosaurs hits Earth. Their journey is very cliche and very predictable, but the dinosaur sequences are pretty cool, and the VFX don't look too bad either. The entire movie teases the T-Rex, and when we finally do get introduced to him, he doesn't feel epic or crazy because we all know what a T-Rex looks like and what they can do. I mean, there are literally 6 blockbuster movies that include a T-Rex. They do eventually reach the escape pods, but then Koa realizes that Adam Driver had lied to her about her parents, which makes her sad, but she gets over it pretty quickly and decides that she needs to get home. So they board the escape pod and get ready to launch as the world begins to get rained down with meteors. Then, in an unfortunate turn of events, 2 and eventually 3 T-Rexes attack the pod. Adam Driver has to get out and handle things like a man, and he does, for the most part, killing the 3 T-Rexes, but then as he makes his way back to Koa, who's still in the escape pod, is approached by this big dino dog that I'm not sure is a real dinosaur, but maybe I'm wrong. Mr. Driver tells Koa that she needs to launch to get out of here, and he runs off to distract the dino dog. As he's running away, he trips and sprains his ankle, but he shakes it off and keeps running. He soon comes upon a hot spring and tries to kill the dino dog. I actually thought this was probably the most unpredictable thing that happened in the film. He leads the dino dog into a geyser that goes off, but no dice. It's still alive, and looks like it's about to eat Adam Driver. Then, Koa comes out of nowhere with a branch and stabs the dino dog in the eye. Where did she get this branch? I don't know. And when she does, the giant dino dog goes crazy, backs up into a position that kills him and basically burns him alive from Old Faithful. It's actually pretty cool. They are able to make it back to the escape pod in time, right before the asteroid hits Earth, and it's pretty badass, I can't lie. And they both make it out safely. So that was the rundown of the plot, and I hope it made sense from me explaining it. I left out a lot of the subplots in my summary because I didn't think they were that important. Adam Driver's Mills is a pretty solid character. I mean, he does an okay job, and it isn't a marriage story or anything, but he does what he needs to do. He gives what he needs to give. His character, Commandant Mills, has a daughter who passed away from a sickness, and Mills needs to go on a mission to fly somewhere. And I thought that his daughter was still alive when he was flying the ship, but apparently she's already dead when we are first introduced to him flying the ship. I hope that made sense. And Koa pretty much becomes his surrogate daughter as the movie goes on. And I also probably should have mentioned earlier that Koa and Mills can't speak to each other directly because Koa doesn't speak English. I mean, I don't know how Mills can speak English either, since he's technically not human. This movie overall, it doesn't scream creativity or anything new or exciting, at least the story anyways. The concept was interesting and very cool. It's actually what got me to pay $10 to see this film. But unfortunately, I can't help but feel that I was robbed of $10. So for me, this movie is gonna get a measly 4 out of 10. And I don't recommend you see this in theaters. Probably just wait until it comes out on Netflix or HBO or wherever if you're still interested. But I'd wait it out, honestly. But if you've seen 65, let me know what you thought of it down in the comments. Okay, people, that's all I have for you for today's video. And until next time, peace!